Assalamu alaikum, dear friends, how are you? Easy life and of course a dignified life. That is what everybody love and everybody want. Although unfortunately many of us are not successful in all that. If many of us are not successful, it does not mean that we won't be able to do that. It is quite possible and quite feasible provided we adopt the right approach. Today we are going to talk about how to make our life easier, easy and dignified. That is the topic of our discussion and I believe that everybody needs it. There are certain aspects of our endeavor if we want to make our life easy and dignified. First of all, we need to simplify and organize our life. Simplification on the one hand, organizing it on the other hand. How to do that? There are just 5 tips. The first is declutter your space. And the second tip to simplify and organize your life, it is prioritize tasks. Prioritizing, dividing everything else what we need to do in the 4 categories. A category for those things which are important and urgent at the same time. B category for all those items which are important but not urgent. C category for all those items which are not important but urgent. And the D category for those items which are neither important nor urgent. Simplifying and organizing our life, there are 5 tips. Declutter your space on the one hand, prioritizing your task on the other hand, and the third tip is create a schedule. What is the creation of schedule? Mean I shall be doing this thing at that time and that task at that particular time. So this is, you know, creating a schedule. The fourth tip to simplify and organize life, that is set boundaries. How much I need to sleep, how much I need to eat, how somebody have the right to interfere in my life. Everything else, there must be a boundary. There must be certain rules and regulations to be followed. Although the improvement, the evolution in these rules and regulations must continue, but still there is a dire need to set boundaries. And the fifth tip to simplify and organize the life, that is automate repetitive tasks. Whatever we are doing on a daily basis, whatever we are doing it on a frequently, we need to automate it. And then the next aspect, next side, the second side of an easy and dignified life is, it is the self-care. Self-care, how to take care of ourselves. There are again 5 tips for that. The first tip is exercise regularly. Whatever type of exercise suits you, even if it is walking. So exercise regularly. The second tip for the self-care, it is eat a balanced diet and stay hydrated. Eating the balanced diet on the one hand, staying hydrated on the other hand. And once we talk about the balanced diet, exclude the fast food and the junk food. The third, tip for the self-care, it is sleep well. 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night, preferably sleeping and awakening at the same time. And now the fourth tip for taking care of ourselves, it is practice mindfulness. Why? What is the mindfulness? The definition, technical definition of the mindfulness is a state of mind achieved by consciously focusing our awareness on the present moment while calmly acknowledging and accepting one's thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations without any judgment. All of us have a past, but do not dwell in the past. Learn whatever can be learned, then let it go. All of us have a future. Not to keep worrying about the future. Plan and prepare whatever you can, then let it go. Now focus and concentrate upon the present moment. That is how we can practice the mindfulness. Now the second tip, that is the second tip for the self care is, eating balanced diet. The third is sleep well. The fourth is practice mindfulness, and the fifth is engage in the hobbies. The fifth tip for the self care, it is engage in the hobbies. Now another aspect of financial stability, another aspect of an easy and a dignified life, we need to be financial stable. How can we achieve the financial stability? There are again five tips. Tip number five is budget and track expenses. What is this budgeting? We don't have to budget for the whole of the company or for whole of the country. Rather, we need to budget for one individual or for one family. It is simple, and list the needs. What are my needs? Where the money is needed. Prioritize it then. Number one important need, number second most important need, third most important need, fourth and fifth. How much of the money is needed to meet the first most important need? For the whole of the year? How much of the money is needed for the second most important need? Then combine it, so on. Then we start thinking how to bring that much of money which is needed to be able to fulfill my needs. And then we have to track the progress, track the expenses, keep writing all the expenses, later on reflect what was spended sensibly, appropriately, reasonably, and what was more than that, so that I won't be able, shall not be spending extra money at all. So you know, that is, dear friends, it is budget and track expenses. The second tip for the financial stability, it is the save and invest, saving and investing. The third tip for the financial stability, it is reduce debt, rather avoid it. Minimize the debt, get rid of the debt, avoid taking debt. The fourth tip for the financial stability, it is build multiple income streams, not just one source of income. Have more than one sources of income. The fifth tip and the last tip for the financial stability, it is plan for the retirement. When shall I like to get retired? What will be the post-retirement expenses of mine? Then the another aspect, the fourth aspect of easy and dignified life, it is our relationships. So there are five tips for good relationships. Tip number five, nurture positive relationships. Always remain curious to find and nurture positive relationships. The second tip for the good relationships, it is setting up healthy boundaries. If at all there are no boundaries, I think the relationships will not remain healthy, and it will not be based on a win-win scenario. So set healthy boundaries. The third, you know, the third tip for the good relationships, it is practice active listening. Let's listen actively. Let's listen with the care, with the empathy. Be a good listener for the good relationships. The fourth tip for positive relationships, it is communicate effectively, communicate clearly, communicate concisely. That is quite a good skill. We need to learn it. The fifth tip for the relationships, it is show gratitude and empathy. Gratitude, even for their smaller contributions. Show gratitude and of course empathy as well. Empathy mean that feeling the pain of the other person and letting the other person know that I am happy on your happiness. I feel a bit saddened because you were in pain. Next aspect, the the seventh, the fifth aspect, the fifth aspect of an easy and dignified life, it is the personal growth. And here too, we have the five tips for the personal growth. Now the tip number one is set goals and track progress. Setting the clear goals, setting the SMART goals. What are the SMART goals? SMART is an abbreviation of five words having five letters. S stand for the specific, M stand for the measurable, A stand for the attainable or achievable, T stand for the time bound, so R stand for the relevant. So set goals and track progress for the personal growth. The second tip, it is learn new skills. Always keep learning new and new skills. The third tip for the personal growth, it is practice self-reflection. Look back what was done right and what could not be done right. Now the fourth tip for the personal growth, it is develop resilience. Be flexible, be adaptable. There are the life does not go smoothly. There are ebbs and flows in the life. So we need to navigate every type of situation, happily. So that is develop resilience. The fifth and the last tip for the personal growth, it is cultivate gratitude. Develop an attitude of gratitude. Be never take any small blessings in your life for granted. Be grateful. Never ignore even the smaller good things you are availing, enjoying, benefiting from. As for the major things are concerned, it happens rarely. Do not focus upon what you are lacking. Always stay focused upon what you are possessing, what you are having. That is how we can develop an attitude of gratitude. Now, the sixth aspect of easy and enjoyable, dignified life, it is time management. Again, there are five tips here. The first tip is focus on priorities, not on the task of lesser importance. Always stay focused on priorities. The second tip for the time management, it is avoid multitasking, single tasking. Our brain is not wired for multitasking because mistakes, errors, big flaws, blunders happen when somebody is driving, but talking to somebody in a very absorbed manner or talking to somebody on telephone, it might occur, it might result in a traffic accident. We are walking, we are climbing the stairs, we may fall. If at all we are carrying a tray of the food, it might fall, we could stumble, and plenty of other blunders as well. So that is avoid multitasking. Focus on one thing at a time. The third tip for the time management, it is take breaks. Taking breaks, and there is a Pomodoro technique for that. Pomodoro technique says 20 to 25 minutes of focused work followed by 5 minutes of break. But preferably your break should not be at the seat of your workplace. Go slightly away. And if you have done this practice for 3 4 times, then every 25 minutes should be followed by 15 to 20 minutes of break. That is, take breaks. The fourth tip for the time management, it is learn to say no. Every request and every invitation is not worth acceptance. So learn to say no politely but firmly, even to our loved ones, even to our loved ones. Learn to say no. Now, the fifth and the last tip for a good time management, it is use technology wisely. If at all we are having a smartphone, we are driving a vehicle, we are on the computer, or any other technology we are availing, use it wisely. Now, the seventh aspect of an easy but dignified life, it is developing a mindset of what? There are five tips. That is, practice positivity, minimize the negativity, maximize the positivity. Number two, reframe negative thoughts. Whatever is negative, reframe it. How can we do that? Look on the situation from another person's angle, from an observer's angle, from an onlooker's angle. That is how we can change, we can reframe the negative thought. The third tip for a good mindset, that is, focus on the solution, not the problem, not the problem. Focus on the solution. The fourth tip for a good mindset, for the winner's mindset, it is develop self-awareness. The more self-aware we are, the better it is. The fifth and the last tip for a winner's mindset, it is cultivate self-compassion. Every time we fail, we stumble, we suffer a setback, do not be a harsh critic of yourself and at all costs. Never do that. Treat yourself with a kind-heartedly, with the care, the way we do with a very loved person. So in the same manner, every time we stumble, we suffer a setback, or we fail, we are insulted somebody, we are, every time treat yourself with a kindness, with a compassion. Now the eighth aspect of a dignified and an easy life, it is dignity boosters. There are five dignity boosters. Number one, stand up for yourself. Standing up for yourself. Do not outsource it. Fight for your right, not in a violent manner, but sensibly, intelligently. Now, the second tip, for the dignity boosting, it is set healthy expectation. Do not expect too much from anyone else, and don't let anybody expect too much from you. Now, the third is practice self respect. We need to respect ourselves before we are respected by other people. The fourth tip for the dignity as a dignity booster, take care of your appearance. Take care of your appearance, how you look. The fifth aspect, the fifth tip as a dignity booster, it is engage in activities that bring joy. Engage in activities that bring joy to you. Now, the ninth aspect, it is remember, life is a journey, not a destination. Self care is not being selfish at all, rather, it is compulsory because we cannot pour from an empty cup. Now, the third is remember, focus on progress, do not focus on perfection. Nobody is perfect. We need to look for the improvement, gradual, slight improvement every time. Now, the fifth thing to remember, it is take small steps toward positive change. Take small steps toward the positive change. That is, start implementing these tips today, and make your life easier, more dignified, easier on the one hand, more dignified on the other hand. That's all from me at the moment.